Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun to do the Authortube character tag, which I saw Tabuggy do at the start of December last year. It seems to be a way to get to know your characters a little bit better, and I thought the questions were kind of fun, so I'm going to give it a go. I will be answering these questions about my main book that I'm trying to work on, which has a working title of Hoof and Horn. I've mentioned it a couple of times before. It's the one with the centaurs and minotaurs and such in. So let's give it a go. So question 1 is, a crazy ass hacker has got into your computer and deleted your entire writing playlist apart from one song. Which one is it? Now, I don't have an official writing playlist for this song, for this story. If I am writing to music, I will tend to use the music created by Brendan and Derek Fletcher. I will link their YouTube channels in the drop down box. They create instrumental music inspired by world music and by fantasy, and a lot of their fantasy songs are quite good for establishing a mood or a feeling, so I find them quite good to write to. However, I'm not going to pick one of those. The one song I am going to want to keep is The Eye of the Storm by the Crew Shadows. It's not a particularly fantasy song. It's just that I was listening to it one day while thinking about this story, and I could almost see in my mind a movie of the main climax of my story unfolding as the song went on. And if I ever want to get back into that moment, I just put the song back on and listen to it again, and it really helps me get into that scene. So I would like to keep that one. Question number 2 is, your protagonist and your antagonist are paired together to go out for lunch. Where do they go? I have two main protagonists in my story, and they also have their own antagonist. So I'm going to go with Roll and his main antagonist. And I think Roll, who's my main central character, would just want to go to the tavern in the village where he goes all the time, have a drink, have some nice food. It's a nice atmosphere. However, I don't think he has considered the fact that his main antagonist has different dietary requirements to him, and that might lead to some complications. Question number 3 is, you're crossing a bridge and a troll demands you give him a chapter of your book to read. What do you choose? Like Bug, I don't know if this question means what chapter do you want him to read and enjoy, or what chapter do you want to just sacrifice so you can distract him and get past. If it's one I want him to read and enjoy, I would probably give him the first chapter, because it's the one that I've done the most work on, and it's a good place to start. He'll know what's going on. If it's one to sacrifice, then my first draft of chapter 2 is awful. It doesn't go anywhere. It needs to be either completely rewritten or scrapped, and I am more than happy to sacrifice that one. Question number 4 is, your friends have thrown a party and surprise, all your characters there. Who do you hang out with the most? This is such a good question. I would love to go to a party and have all my characters there. So I would probably, I'm going to be a bit naughty and say I would probably avoid hanging out with Jen too much. He's my main main satyr leader, like their king. But I suspect after a few drinks he would get rather flirty, and he can just stay over there and do that over there. I will hang out with Ragmar, who is my Minotaur leader, and the one I actually have the most conversations with in my head. I almost have whole conversations with him sometimes. It's quite fun. He is also probably the character I will be attempting to draw next in my Drawing My Characters series, so you can find out a bit more about him when I put that video up. Question number 5 is, you somehow managed to lock your keys into your apartment. Which character do you get to help you to pick a lock? I'm not sure that any of my characters are going to be particularly adept at picking a lock, but I would choose Tion, who is Roll's wife, because I think she's a centaur too, but she's a lovely person who, if I said I needed help, she would be there. She's like, yep, you need help, I'm there, I will help you. And I think she'd be more than happy to help me break in. Question number 6 is, it's the zombie apocalypse and everyone is going to Mars and you can only take one character. Who do you take? Oh, this is horrible. I don't want to leave any of them behind. I'm gonna have to say, I don't want to say this, but I'm gonna say Roll because he's been with me the longest. He's the character I came up with first when I first conceived of this project, and I would feel awful if I left him behind after all we've been through together. But my other characters are pretty tough. I think they might be able to survive the zombie apocalypse, and I can come back and rescue them later. Maybe. Question number 7 is you've been given the ability to travel anywhere in your world. Where do you go? One of my biggest writing flaws is that I suffer quite badly from weight room syndrome. So it'd be really good to be able to travel to my world and work out where things actually are and what they look like. Um, this is a bit of a cop-out answer, but I would say I would travel to one of my Minotaur camps because my Minotaurs are quite nomadic and travel around a lot. So I figure if I can get to their camp, they can take me on to the next part of their journey and I'll get to see more of the world that way. Question number 8 is you meet your main character and want to introduce yourself or get a conversation going, but you can only do it in 6 words or less. What do you say? Well, if I was going to introduce myself to Alice, who is my token human, I would probably say, "Hi, I'm human too." 4 words. There are very few humans in my world, so I think the fact that we're both the same species would be enough to get a conversation going. Question number 9 is crazy acid rain is falling. What character do you use as an umbrella? I'm very tempted to say my main antagonist because he is a horrible person and he would deserve it, but he's bigger than me and I don't know if I could lift him up as an umbrella. The only character I think I could hoist up and use as an umbrella would be Jen, but again that feels quite mean because I do like him deep down. And goats really hate rain, so that seems even more horrible of me. I have got some fantasy beasts of burden that I came up with that have quite tough hides, so maybe I'll use one of them and maybe it won't get through them. And question number 10 is you're out for dinner and it's time to order dessert. What dessert do you order for your main character? Well, for Roll, he has a really sweet tooth. He really likes honey and would probably appreciate something like maybe sticky toffee pudding, something really sweet and sticky. Alice, I think, would prefer something more fruit based, so maybe a nice fruit crumble or a fruit pie. And those are the questions. If you liked this tag and would like to do it, please do. If you do, leave me a comment to tell me what you have so I can go check out your video because I'd like to see what other people's answers are. Or alternatively, just write your answers out and pop them in the comments. I'd love to read them. So yes, that was it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. It would really help me out and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.